Hello everybody and welcome back. This is the Fintech Power 50 and I'm here with the Power 50 member Michael Heffner. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great, Tyler. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Well,
Wow.
you're joining us today at Sibos 2022 being held in Amsterdam.
Yes.
Very, very exciting. Lots of people to talk to.
Yes.
Lots of things to see and people to visit. So it's a very, very exciting day and we're very happy to have you.
Thank you
here
so
with
much.
us
Yeah, the
today.
energy is back at Sibos.
The energy is back, and it
Yeah.
started here. It started here.
It did.
But before we get on with our discussion today, we've got a really great discussion lined up. But I think as a Power 50 member, why don't you give our viewers a little bit of info, a bit of insight into who you are and what your company does?
Yeah, fantastic. So Mike Heffner, I'm Vice President of Solutions and Industry Go-to-Market at Appian. I have the distinct honor of not only working at Appian, but having been a former customer. So it gives me great perspective of the impact of the technology. So I come at this from a practitioner's mindset, which is why we're at Sibos. Appian is a digital process automation platform and solution provider. And many of our customers are actually at Sibos. So it somewhat feels almost like a homecoming. And now being in 2022, it's great to be back together in person.
Fantastic!
Yeah.
Fantastic! What an introduction.
Yeah.
So you talk about it as being an automation solution. What makes Appian unique to the rest of the crowd?
So we're a low-code platform provider, and really we're leaning into our customers and our customers' objectives of what they're trying to accomplish when it comes to transforming their business processes. The way they operate, the way they bring solutions to market, the way they optimize and integrate operations, the way they rethink their responses to some of the challenges in GRC and integrating the 3 lines of defense. So we're perfectly suited for Sibos because many of our customers are here.
Oh, well, fantastic. In terms of low code, we just go back to that.
Sure.
Where does low code come in to the journey to modernization for your customers?
Yeah, it's all about agility, power, and speed. So low code for us is it's core to our offering, but it's more about outcomes. How do we lean into the objectives and the things that our customers are trying to accomplish? And many of the CEOs, C-suites that we talk to, the priority for the next 12, 18 months is automation. How do they drive to automation to more effectively automate, integrating both their people, their data, their applications, and their processes into a cohesive whole?
That's a real necessity of a lot of the people that are here at Sibos today is automation. I mean, it's no longer a choice. In terms of your attendance at Sibos as a company, as Appian, you said that a lot of your customers are here. How long have you been coming to Sibos now?
Yeah, I was actually just reflecting on that the other day.
Yeah?
Our first Sibos was 2016
Wow.
in Geneva, when we were a much smaller company back then. And I was remarking to some of our colleagues, my colleagues, that those early days in 2016 at Geneva, I think we had a single stand and maybe a single monitor. And we're now, fast forward, we are occupying a corner. We have multiple conference rooms. And we're surrounded by some of the biggest banks in the world. And I just took a scan yesterday. Within eyesight, I could identify all the banks around us were actual customers. So that creates a sense of pride and accomplishment for sure.
Yeah, I saw your stand this morning, and I thought, oh, it looks really nice. There it is, and you've got some good neighbours there as well. So
we do.
You're well positioned.
Yes.
In terms of the challenges that financial institutions are facing right now, I mean, you're all sort of sharing a space in Sibos, and you will share challenges too, right?
Yes.
So how are Appian's solutions helping to mitigate those challenges? Where does it come into, and what do you see the challenges as being, and How does Appian work in that?
Great question. Excellent question. So there's no doubt the macroeconomic environment has changed. I think we talked about it a second ago, this idea of automating, but not just automating for the bottom line, but to create better, more integrated service delivery in an environment that's more responsible in terms of outcomes to the regulators and the public at large. We're perfectly suited for that. So our customers are reinventing how they manage their banking ecosystems.
Okay.
They're leveraging our platform. They're also leveraging our solutions offerings to just move faster in a more integrated way. Think about it this way. Traditional development methodologies that are coding based in comparison to what you can accomplish with Appian, it's just we're faster, we're more integrated, we're more adaptable as well. So customers are not just focused on how do we build more effectively, maybe an application from scratch, right? But how do we then update and maintain that application more effectively as well? Fewer resources, faster time to value is really important. So the building of an application from scratch is one of the patterns that we see with our customers. But then the more important pattern is how do you then connect that application with adjacent topics where you have similar or same user bases, not just doing one thing, but doing many things. How do you begin to create an ecosystem that actually shares common components like a user experience, like common core elements around how data is managed and integrated. So there's an opportunity to unify, and that's a lot of what we're bringing to the table, is helping our customers unify the way work gets done, and then integrating modern concepts around process discovery, process mining, machine learning, AI, different ways of dealing with data and documents, all into one frame, which is Appian.
So you've mentioned that you've come to Sibos to obviously rub shoulders with some of the biggest banks in the world, and that you're doing. I see the location of your booth, and it's right in the middle of town. In terms of, I mean, you've come to form partnerships and relationships with businesses, right?
Yes.
But you've also come here to showcase some of your latest innovations.
Yes.
What have you come here to showcase? Can you give us a bit of an insight into that, and maybe some of your favorites?
Yeah, great question. So I'll mention three favorites. The first is we're showcasing a solution that we've created specifically for financial services around customer lifecycle management. That one's an actual solution, so fully configured and deployable, very exciting, great demo. The second is actually a partnership with Swift, targeting ISO 20022. And we think we have a really differentiated offering that we were able to create, really targeting the large banks in that space, which is very exciting. And then the third is some work, it's a little further afield, but around the metaverse, where if you, I encourage you to check it out, where we have some Oculus devices, and that particular use case built on Appian is all about a trade finance negotiation in the metaverse, powered by Appian.
Oh wow, that sounds really. I mean, it's a hot topic anyway. The metaverse.
Yeah, of course.
Gosh. Yeah, everybody wants to know about the metaverse. I will drop by your stand to check that out, because I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, you should check it out.
In terms of the low code, and you mentioned the customer lifestyle management innovation that you've brought to the market.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how no code sort of allows that to happen?
Yeah.
How do the two fit together?
Absolutely. So it's customer lifecycle management. The starting point of a customer relationship with an entity, a bank, is always onboarding, but then it morphs into servicing. You have a whole host of compliance requirements that go into customer lifecycle management as well, about understanding who the customer is. So that's where the KYC regulations come about. For complex financial institutions, the process of managing the life cycle is daunting. And it's daunting because of all the participants, the stakeholders, the systems involved, the data involved. What Appian does and what our solution does is we lean into all of the variation that exists in customer lifecycle management, and we put the power of managing the variation into the hands of the people that run the business operations. So these are, complex processes that we help to simplify and streamline. They're still complex. We just make it easier for them to be managed in a more controlled, efficient, but also auditable kind of a way. So it's very differentiating.
Oh, well, that sounds very, very interesting, and I can understand now why you've brought it as your latest innovation. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's going to really do a lot of work in that area.
Yep.
And it's a very important area too. In terms of, if we just sort of look forward just a bit in terms
Sure.
of what's going to happen to Appian the end of this year. I mean, we're sort of coming to the end of the year now, I guess.
Yeah.
And into next year. I mean, what's your plans? What's your forecast for that?
Well, Appian is growing leaps and bounds. We've been very clear that even with the macroeconomic correction, Appian as a company is actually extremely well suited to leaning into the objectives of our customers. And in banking in particular, that's a drive towards automation. We're well suited for automation. We're seeing a lot of interest. So we're continuing to grow. We're hiring. We can't hire fast enough, in fact. So as a company, we're continuing to grow, but ultimately it's all about our customers. So what's happening with our customers? On the banking side, we see a drive towards automation. We're seeing many of our customers reset and look for opportunities to get better in the near term, and we're absolutely leaning into that and helping.
You touched on a really, really good point again, Michael, is the necessity for automation.
Yes.
And it seems like something that your customers are really in high need of, and that's a demand that you're adhering to, right?
Yes.
When I was planning for this interview, I noticed that you dabbled into process mining.
Yes.
How does process mining fit into automation and essentially what your customers want?
Yeah, great question, brilliant. And there's really two nuances to it. Okay. One is when you've developed or adopted an Appian solution, it's really a starting point for continuous improvement. Okay. So leveraging process mining and the data associated with process mining to continuously look for patterns that allow you to tweak the model, the operating model, so to speak, tweak the application, but also tweak how you're organized. So having that perspective around data and then being able to apply those learnings is incredibly powerful when it comes to applications that have already been built in Appian. But we also have customers that really struggle with understanding where to start. They may be aware of some challenges that they have and opportunities that they have in terms of adoption of technology, drive increased automation, but it's daunting. They're probably looking at hundreds of processes, many complex data silos, lots of different systems, and being able to even understand where are the high value opportunities where you may have excessive manual processing or rework, or you may have excessive risks and errors that have been occurred. Being able to pinpoint exactly where to start that automation journey is the other element of process mining where we can help and are helping.
Now, before we let you go, Michael, in preparation for this interview, I was reading the headlines and taking a look at what your company had been doing and where it's been going. And I was just really interested, I know it's obviously a very sensitive topic, but what happened between Appian and Pegasystems?
Yeah. Honestly, I actually appreciate the question. I typically do not comment on competitors, but I recognize that in the industry, this has raised lots of questions. Many of our customers and prospects are asking questions around ESG, et cetera. So I'm not going to comment too much. I will call out for those that are interested, there's a website. It's appian.com/pega-lawsuit, where you can discover a lot more about what happened and the nuances and some of the perspectives that we think is important. I will say, Appian as a company, we will always stand for what's right. We're a highly ethical company, but we're also not afraid of defending ourselves, especially when it comes to our intellectual property.
Of course.
So I appreciate the question.
No, it's perfectly fine. I noticed it was a very major thing to happen to your company in the recent months. So yeah, but if anybody's interested, they can pop along to your website and read a bit more about it.
Yes.
That's what they'll do. Well, thank you very much, Michael Heffner, our Power 50 member. I'd love to speak to you all day, but unfortunately, I wouldn't like to keep you from the bank. But thank you very much for this interview, and I will pop along to your stall to try out your VR.
Please do.
Yes,
Please
it'll be
do.
Fantastic.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.